president, guru, ad genius at G Media in Rhode Island. She joins us every month, and we talk everything that is going on. Functionally, we talk about how do you sell stuff, right? Isn't that really what we get it down to?
At the end of the day, yeah.
Yeah. Listen, you've got, first of all, in fair disclosure, she might have the most complicated life of any woman in America today.
No.
Oh, you've got to be right up there. No. A set of twin boys. How old are they?
2.5.
2.5-year-old twin boys. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Pretty much.
Yes.
They're winning, I'm losing.
That's right.
At all times.
Right. There are combat Marines right now saying, I am enjoying my life better than you are.
They're in training.
Yeah, they are absolutely in training to have twins. Let's talk about what's going on. Obviously, the news. Every week when we get prepped for this, she says, I don't want to talk about Facebook.
But we're going to talk about Facebook.
But we have to talk
about
Facebook. It is insane. They just passed 2.2 billion members. Everybody hates them. Pew Research comes out. They're the lowest rank of all the social media companies. They're at about 55, 60%. And yet they fuel the engine. Still going, still impactful. Bob Whitcomb, who's the former editorial page editor at the Providence Journal, writes for us now, and in his columns, he constantly is talking about the need to break them up. Is that where we are, I think, from your standpoint?
I don't know if we need to break them up, but it is interesting to watch, the trading floor or what's going on with Facebook. But I mean, I think they're smart in their strategy. I think there's a lot of distrust still from, people want to know what's going on with their buy and if it makes sense, and there's a lot of distrust. But I also think at the same time, the people that were going to leave left, and they're not going to be impacted that much. I mean, let's face it, you have WhatsApp, which is doubling in price. Like they just came out with WhatsApp Small Business.
Right.
They're investing in opportunities that make sense for them to keep the
engines rolling. Mm-hmm. And should they be split from Instagram from a sort of monopolistic standpoint? They seem to have, control over even the alternative to some degree.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, I think that's a conversation that's been going on since the beginning of time. I know from even my Omnicom days, I was building partnerships with Facebook separate from Instagram and doing deals with them separately, even though working with the same holding company.
Right.
So sure, I think there's some validity to that. That being said, we are where we are, and people are still going to be influenced by what they're going to buy and purchase and how they're going to engage on both of those platforms.
And are we going to see any kinder, gentler Facebook? Or was that just for the congressional hearings, and then a corporate culture is a corporate culture. They'll give them mea culpa, and then, hey, it's back to there's just too much money on the table. Privacy be damned. Ultimately, and anybody who understands how Facebook works, understands that it really is a data company that's moving data and allowing their customers, their bigger customers, to have access to it, because why else would you buy it? You want to talk to the left-handed Republican red-haired woman who lives in Boise.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think at the end of the day, I think they're being very careful with sensitivity to their consumers from a B2B and a B2C standpoint. At the end of the day, they're doing well. So we'll see how long it lasts.
It was a tough quarter last quarter. It was only $12 billion, right? And they took a couple-day hit during those congressional hearings, and then the stock went right back into ultra-flight. One of the things that you guys are very good at is sort of this experiential marketing world. And Rhode Island's about to be hit with probably as good a one as there is in the world, the Volvo races.
Yes.
It's really, is it the perfect model of experiential marketing, right? A global race fraught with danger, literally, sailors die. They go around the world. It's lengthy, it's branded. It's kind of got everything, doesn't it?
It's pretty fabulous.
It's pretty fabulous.
Yeah. I mean, and everybody's going to be watching.
And everybody is going to watch. It's going to draw, upwards maybe as many as 100,000 people to Newport over the next 12 days or so. it's kind of got the cool factor of everything. It's got team sport, sailing, Newport, Fort Adams as a backdrop, entertainment, music, food, you name it.
It's pretty fabulous. And if you want to go watch it, they're partnering with Gurney's, I believe.
Yeah.
Why not go there?
Right.
So, no, I think that it is absolutely ideal. Funny side note, I got married there when it was the Hyatt, not knowing when we booked it 2 years before that that's where they would be planning out the America's Cup trials. Try getting a hotel room the weekend in the summer of that. But that being said, I think, it's phenomenal. That's a perfect storm, actually, pardon the pun. But at the end of the day, I also like to say, well, that's a Volvo.
Right.
What about our smaller companies?
Yeah.
What about our middle market, small to medium, large size companies out here that don't have that kind of a spend to do experiential marketing? I think you can still do something really robust and drive lead generation and really build some brand awareness for your company without spending that much too.
Yeah,
right?
$100 million or whatever, Volvo. Talk about that. How do you, if I'm a community bank or I'm a cool lifestyle brand, but I'm regional, how do I build that impact and that experience, and how do you guys develop that strategy for that?
Sure, and I think what it comes down to is, we love to work on experiential marketing. One of our biggest clients is MetLife, and we do all of their national brand engagements on the ground at a lot of great clients. For us, it's about the brand strategy behind it in every channel that you're in. I mean, you look at millennials, you look at how they're interacting, they're going to go onto a website, and if it's outdated or it's not engaging and it's just a traditional site,
right,
you're going to leave right away because it just exemplifies distrust. You just don't feel like it's something cool, it's not edgy. So it's really looking at all of the channels and how to leverage your brand the most. And that starts from the core of, okay, who are we? What do we exemplify? And why are you going to choose us over somebody else?
And if they go to that event, that millennial, and there's not fish tacos, are they done? Are they packing up and leaving?
Most likely.
Yes.
Most likely,
Right.
if there are not fish tacos. But, that's a key to experiential marketing. It's a different way of the world. At the end of the day, it is all about sales for companies, and that's what you want to drive. But if you're focused so much on your spend for your ad spend and everything else in your funnel, and you're not focusing on brand awareness and just building loyalty with your consumers, then you're going to see your ad spend go up and your conversion go down.
And isn't it the relationship you're trying to create, that there's a level of trust, that what you promise, these airlines are getting into some trouble by not,
that's a whole nother story.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that there's an inherent, listen, every company's going to have its bumps and bruises, They build products, not everything works perfectly. It's about the cleanup and the relationship and sort of creating as much trust as possible.
It really comes down to trust and loyalty. And that's why experiential marketing, a lot of companies will say, well, I don't see my ROI, I don't see my ROI. But that brand awareness, you're providing a full funnel of leads. But it has to be done right. You have to ensure that the people that are representing your brand, whether it's your inside folks or external brand ambassadors, that they're educated and truly know what they're talking about. Because the first thing that happens if you're going to a brand event and you actually, and I'm sure this has happened to you, I know it's happened to me, you ask that secondary question after you get your free thing,
right,
and they can't answer it
right,
about the brand.
Well, because they
You're
hired a
walking
kid
away.
for that weekend and they didn't train them, and
Exactly.
Right.
So that right off the bat is one of the first things, is making sure whoever's talking about your brand and engaging with your consumer, your target audience, is fully versed and educated in what it is, and vetting those folks.
If you're a brand on the decline and you're feeling the pressure of it, and we're obviously seeing retail brands drop left and right. It's pretty much every week a major retail brand is either liquidating or entering into Chapter 11.
Yeah.
What's the strategy to save yourself?
Well, if you're in Chapter 11, I don't know. I think retail is in.
Could Toys R Us been saved if they had been a little bit more, developed a digital strategy, created much more of an experience? think of the fun you ought to be able to have.
Well, they tried to create a digital experience.
Yeah.
They tried to at least, well, from an e-commerce standpoint, they tried. I mean, it definitely hurt them going into partnership with Amazon, and obviously, you know, they won that lawsuit, but you already put yourself in the hole competing with your own products.
Right.
But so from a financial standpoint, I think they were already pretty deep. But I was actually just talking about it with somebody else this weekend. Going into Toys R Us when we were kids was the best thing you could ever do. It was Christmas.
Absolutely.
It
Better
was
than
the
a
most-
bouncy house.
Yes, it was the most
Absolutely.
amazing thing that you could ever do. Going to Toys R Us, it was huge. And now going into Toys R Us,
Is a dismal Kmart-like experience.
2 years ago when I had my twins, anything I could do to not go there.
Right.
Except the only good thing was you could go there and they would take back anything. It didn't even have to be theirs. So sadly.
There's a winning strategy.
Yeah, so I think from there, when your target audience is parents and their kids, and then you go and you have a setup where it's just so depressing when you walk
Right.
in the door, that was the downfall. I mean, you go into Target, you actually have a great experience. You know you can buy that TV, and they're going to bring it out to your car.
Right.
You're not even going inside. I'm in.
How do these folks begin to integrate a cool digital strategy with the brick and mortar? Can you merge the two? Can you give an example of a great company that's been able to find a way that, creates the relationship online, brings the folks in, you walk out of there and go, God, that was, that's as good as it gets from a retailer standpoint.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think Taco Bell is obviously, we've all seen a lot of their advertising. I'm always watching the stuff that they're doing. They're addressing, they're going after the millennials, and sure they're engaging with them in the right way, and they're also looking at Gen Z. So I think it's just thinking about all of the things. I mean, millennials, 50% of them to 70% are buying something that they've engaged with on Facebook or they've looked at, and that's influencing their
I'm moving you
decision.
back over.
Oh, I'm sorry, I moved over.
Yeah.
I like to sway away from you.
Yes, that's right.
I like my own space.
I did shower this week. It's early in the week.
So I think from that point, that point, it will drive them into the location. But if you are not finding their triggers,
Yeah.
whether it's
Right.
through VR, anything that's really online and digital is going to drive them to that physical experience.
Talk about some of the successes you guys are having, who you're working with, what you're doing with them.
Sure. So right now we're doing a lot of stuff with MetLife, which is one of our anchor clients. So we do a lot of experiential with them, as well as their brand strategy for their
And what's
auto
an
and home.
experience? If I were lucky enough to be invited to a MetLife event, what's the experience I have?
Well, you'd have to work at one of the companies.
Yeah.
But it would be, there's multiple categories of how it would happen. As you would, but regardless, you would essentially on site. If you say we're at Georgetown or Sally Mae, you would engage with the brand on site. You would be invited to RSVP. You'd be picked up, brought to your car. We would be doing like an 18-point card check, or it might be a 5-point card check. Really depends on the size of the campus. And you would have the brand ambassadors there talking to you about the benefits of getting a policy with them, as well as everything from car seat safety checks, which is about 98% were the numbers installed incorrectly, right down to getting the glass on your car repaired. So multiple different things. But the biggest point is that they're offering up, it's a B2B relationship that has a B2C benefit.
Right,
so not
right,
only
right.
helping their organization, but then I'm also helping Josh Fenton, who's there as an employee, not only get savings on his policy, but I'm teaching you some stuff about safety in the workplace, at home, and as well as with your vehicle. And we're tying in cool digital and VR opportunities.
VR, talk about the VR.
Sure.
I heard about these VR opportunities. They're pretty cool.
Yes.
So
yes.
give an example.
So I mean that's the way
So
into
you
the hearts of
you
your
built something
millennials
pretty
and-
cool, right?
Yes, so we built some customized technology for a lot of our clients, not just MetLife, to offer up experiences through VR that are
Virtual
customized to their brand.
reality, the goggles go on, they experience something that's tied to that brand.
Yeah. We go and we look at each brand and say, okay, if you want, everybody wants VR. We want to do this. We want something cool. But it needs to tie back to who you are and what
Absolutely.
your brand is. So
It's not just skydiving into the Grand Canyon, right?
yeah, you can do that, but at
Right.
the end of the day, you really want to look at, okay, how are we going to really drive relationships and value for
And
our
talk about a
customers?
cost structure. Let's say I'll go back to my community bank or that, 5 retail location company in Rhode Island or Massachusetts, and they say, God, that sounds great, but how do I create a VR experience for customers or prospects that is applicable? I don't have the budget for MetLife.
Sure. I mean, and those are things that you have to think of, especially if you want to do something customized. That makes sense for your corporation. One thing is just, it doesn't necessarily have to be something that's customized for your brand, but more about a topic or something that's going on in the industry that relates to your brand,
Right.
that you can really latch onto and stand for something, whether it's something for a nonprofit or something that your company believes in.
So
and
kind of a
stands behind.
cause marketing campaign that
Which
can be.
is, honestly, nobody wants to hear about the company. They want to hear what they stand for and believe in.
Yeah. And what do you see as, in more global sense, trends that are starting to emerge? Do you see anything, little snippets of things here and there? You've talked about experiential marketing, talked about applications of VR to pay off the brand experience. Anything else that's going on out there?
Well, I think it's really just looking at your brand, what you want to stand for, and what channels make sense for you to be advertising yourself. One thing, you're seeing a dip of what I think this is the first year, or at the end of last year, is 1% TV's down in broadcast, and it's really taking over on the online space. So,
And especially in mobile, and especially in video.
Yeah.
I mean, those two spaces are just.
well, and that's the thing. I mean, you look at Netflix, and I love Netflix. I'm essentially obsessed since I have no time to watch anything, and we're cord cutters. But so I go on my Netflix, and if I want to share a series that I love, it's right there.
Yeah.
It's just the settings. It's really just making whatever channels you're on, making it as easy and as accessible as possible, so that it's just a simplified, easy experience. It's not about necessarily always just having a huge media spend and a lot of money and getting the most leads. It's really, okay, what do we stand for? What do we really want to get out to reach our audience? And what's going to be most interesting and engaging?
And separate and apart from what you guys are doing, do you see anything big and on the national play of anybody doing anything really interesting that you go, ooh, I like that idea, we need to apply it?
We're always looking at that stuff, and I think the most important is, I think you brought it up via email the other day, is in design.
Yeah,
And
I
how
think
you're
it's.
branding.
I got to tell you, I think it's the most underestimated in the digital world. I think people are like, "Oh, it's digital. We don't have to spend any time writing good copy." And some of the ads, we won't run a bad ad. We'll try and give some consulting, or we'll clean it up ourselves. It really matters
That's
what
why
the
you
ad.
always showcase the G Media ones.
We
because
like the
they're
G
so
Media.
lovely.
They're nice. They're clean. They're smart. And some people want to make it a Christmas tree with 27 lines of copy. Well, that doesn't really work in a 160 by 600 ad.
And it's just not digestible.
Right.
With the amount of stuff that's thrown at us every day, we want it just fast, quick, and to the point. And it needs to work hand in hand. So everything that we do when it comes to design, and I feel it should be the playbook, is making something clean, technology tied to design, and that's it. It has to just be a simplified process. If I'm seeing a traditional ad, I think it's spam.
Target really did a great job of getting people to understand the importance of design and cool and color and things.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't that different a company than Kmart. And Kmart's gone. I mean, it really is the same plastic cup in the same factory in China being made. It's just one got marketed and one didn't.
They just had a smarter e-commerce strategy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely.
I think they had a smarter e-commerce strategy than Amazon or Walmart. I think those are, obviously they're doing amazing, but Target, I think, is just a step ahead.
Anything else?
Not today.
Not today.
You?
Let's see. I think it's going to be a big summer in Rhode Island. I do. I think Volvo kicks it off. I think weather looks good for the next 10 days for the most part. I think it's amazing to go and watch tomorrow night if you're in Newport. It'll be a Tuesday night, and it is packed with people from all over the world. It's really remarkable about what a destination place this is. And I think you're seeing a half-decent economy. People have some
Absolutely.
enthusiasm, and I think there's a lot of growth. We're seeing a lot of growth. I think it's a good time.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree.
So thanks everybody for the busiest woman in America, heading up an ad agency, fast-growing ad agency, twin boys, 2.5. I believe you get a Congressional Medal of Honor or something like that. Maybe it's St.
Bringing them in
Peter.
next week. You can babysit.
No way.
No, I'm
Can we
not.
bring them here?
On the next show.
I want to thank everybody for tuning in to Business Monday. Thank everybody at Navigant for their sponsorship of the Broadcast Center, and our friends at Deepwater Wind, a big innovator, obviously, not just in Rhode Island, up and down the East Coast and around the world. We'll be back tomorrow. Big day tomorrow. We are broadcasting live all day from down at Volvo, down at the Fort Adams, and it should be a pretty interesting day talking to captains and crews from all over the world, as well as visitors and some of the surprise entertainment that's going on. We'll be back tomorrow from Newport live.